What are we talking about today? Leon Draisaitl and them boys?
God damn it,
This
Mike.
guy.
That's Mike Schur. He hasn't been around for a while. He comes in taunting, comes in strong. He was kind of silent when Tatum got hurt and the Celtics season ended. Kind of vanished. Couldn't find him. He was a plume of smoke. But now he's back because the Panthers are down.
Leon Draisaitl and them boys. Bring you back into the fold.
That's right. And Stugotz is here for you in order to speak your language and welcome you back in after a while. He has top 5 baseball player names that would sound better in hockey. Are you ready? As hockey names, top 5.
Never been more ready.
All right.
I have some OLI here, Dan.
All right.
just so you know.
OLI.
Yes.
All right. Let's go.
Dante Bichette. Jim Fregosi. Ryan Sandberg. That's more 80s Olympic hockey team. Number 5, Eric Gagne.
Yeah, you're cheating.
Number 4, Rance Mullen.
Sing a trend.
What a great name.
Number 3, Ron LaFleur. Number 2, Joaquin Benoit. And number 1, Eric Bedard.
He's just Canadian.
That was good.
That was good. That was a good list. That was a good list, you guys. That was a good list, you guys. I'm so proud of you, man. It's a good list.
I mean, perfect. Absolutely dead solid perfect.
There is only one thing that will make it slightly more perfect. Video room, please, as soon as you can, put in the picture-in-picture a photograph of Rance Mullen so that everyone can see what it is that baseball players
Delightful.
looked like in the 70s. And I want you to imagine about 6 home runs a season.
You're giving them that much.
I don't know. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. Rance Mullen in the corner there, looking like somebody would look if their name was Rance Mullen. Put it on the poll, please, at LeBatard Show. Have you ever met anyone named Rance?
And also, if your name, put it on the poll. If your name is Rance, do you have to wear prescription glasses?
Yes, put that on the poll as well. How do you feel in general, Mike, about what happened at the end of your Boston Celtics season? That is not, in terms of shocks, you were shocked, were you not?
Yeah, of course. How do you think I feel? What kind of question is that? Yeah, the season ends at the hands of the Knicks, who the Celtics beat 4 times by like 20 points each game, and then in the midst of going down 3-1, the best player on the team and a top 5 player in the NBA tears his Achilles. The game ends, the season ends, next season ends, and the team gets broken up. Like, take a wild guess how I felt at the end of the Celtics season. What's wrong with you? What kind of question is that? I haven't been here in months, and I show up and you just toss out hey, here's a question I'm genuinely interested in. How did you feel about your favorite team imploding in the playoffs? What kind of question is that? What kind of journalism is that? You pride yourself on journalism. And that's the question you come at me with. How did you feel when the best player on your team blew out his Achilles?
The reason I ask that question is because I don't believe that you've ever had a season end in that surprising of a fashion. I don't think that your sports fandom has ever had what that had, which is, we're going to win again. We're super confident. We're feeling like we've got the best thing. And at the very least, we've got a chance against anybody. Oh my God, it's over. Oh my God, it's over for next season. Oh my God, it's all over.
Yes, the people who made blimps were surprised at the Hindenburg. Yes, correct. And I have to say one thing, though. The last season, despite everything Mike Ryan tried to say when I came on your show, the Celtics were winning the title. They beat everybody every game. They were absolutely unstoppable. It didn't matter who they played, under what circumstances, they were winning the title. I did not feel that way this year. People kept saying the Celtics are the favorites because they're the defending champs. They've got the best team. I watched, unlike you, Jamokes, I watch a lot of regular season basketball.
Well, you've been telling us OKC for 3 seasons.
Yeah, and I watched them a lot, and I watched Cleveland a lot, and I watched a lot of teams, and I felt like the Celtics had a shot, but I did not feel the inevitability that I did in 23-24. I felt like I was hopeful that they could get to the finals, but I was fairly sure that even if they got there, OKC would win. So in the sense of like, was I shocked they didn't win the title? Not in the slightest. I was obviously the way that it happened was horrifying, and the Knicks series was rough, but I did not at any point during the regular season really, except maybe after game 1 against the Knicks in Boston when they tied a record for hitting threes. I was like, oh, maybe they've actually leveled up. But the way that the season unfolded, it just Drew Holiday had gotten a year older, and Porzingis always had some weird injury, and the team just didn't seem like they were as locked in as they had been the year before. So that part didn't shock me.
You were losing that series with or without the Tatum injury, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, after they blew those 2 games at home, up 20, I don't think – I mean, could they have come back from 3-1? Maybe, but they just weren't – they were playing into the Knicks' hands. They were doing the opposite of what Indiana just did, which was running them ragged. And so I think probably no matter what, even if Tatum doesn't get hurt, they're losing that series.
Right,
yeah.
but it's a devastating injury because he's out next year. How'd that make you feel? And say it slowly, please.
You know, how long has it been since I've been on the show? It's been like 6 months or something. I've been here for a long time.
Slower.
And the reason that I haven't been here is this. You want to know why I haven't been around? It's this.
That's why he only comes on the pitch clock.
Yeah,
That's right. Oh, I'm happy to go on the pitch clock and talk about stupid things in baseball.
Back
what
to
I'm
Tatum.
not happy about is this.
Back to Tatum, so I can cometh.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Coming up next, Pitch Clock with Jeremy Taché. It's going to be right around the corner. I wanted to ask Mike Schur about, I don't know if this has been happening to you, but there are any number of apocalyptic things happening all over the world. And occasionally there are funny sports things that break out juxtaposed next to the apocalypse that make me laugh. Football's owners getting together at the Breakers and yelling at each other about the tush push, and Jeff Lurie, the owner of the Eagles, yelling and talking for an hour about why
1 hour.
For 1 hour about why it is that he should have this play. I want to get your thoughts in general about the tush push. I just loved rich people wasting their time arguing about this, but I really did want to also play for you Brad Williams asking the commissioner a question that to me is tush push like, and this isn't the spirit of what we're doing around here, but perhaps we should allow it because it's something that would allow people to get an advantage. Here's Brad Williams saying what should evolve from the tush push.
Obviously, one of the big hot topics over this offseason is the play, the tush push, the brotherly shove. If it's going to be banned, not. But my question is, the late football coach, Mike Leach, it was recently discovered that he had suggested putting a little person in the backfield and actually tossing him over the line.
What is...
Ray Lewis loves it.
For a short yardage situation.
Okay, agreed.
What is keeping the next Ben Johnson from having a little person that you can throw 10 yards at a time and an unstoppable offense?
I guess nothing. I mean, I don't know if that was part of the hour-long rant that Lurie gave, but maybe he was advocating for it. Maybe this is how the game should go. Maybe this is the next evolution.
But
of
I'm
football.
serious when we talk about spirit of the thing. Spirit of the thing. Isn't it? It's not a bridge too far. It's the same sort of silliness, right? We're not. I understand that the tush push is still ostensibly football, but it's not football anybody wants to watch.
No, I agree with you. I think it's kind of dumb. I really don't. I don't like the tush push. I think it's rugby, and I don't think that I signed up for rugby. So I'm all for it. And I'm not taking the bait on the other thing you're doing, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he likes it.
How do you feel? Do you have any opinions on Belichick and everything going? Have you lost respect for Belichick?
I don't know, man. I mean, some part of me is like, let the guy live his life. Who cares? And some part of me is like, the thing that Pablo's been saying, which is something I agree with, is like the part of it that's a story is the way that he ruled his little fiat for decades, which was like no distractions, do your job. Guys get benched for incredibly minor infractions, and then he's his own biggest distraction, and that part of it just I don't understand it, and except to say like, yeah, rich guys in their 70s lose their mind. Like I don't think it's that confusing when you think of it as just a rich dude in his 70s who met a attractive 20-year-old who like showed interest in him. Everything after that kind of, I don't know, it lines up, falls into place. But I do think it's a story. I don't think it's not a story. I think it's like that guy who ran his world that way now being this guy. I mean, it's ridiculous. And and anyone who tries to say it's not a story is wrong, in my opinion.
Oh, but it's not. You're sitting here taking the parts of the story that allow us to rationalize why it's okay to creep around in his bedroom and stuff. But the reason people are interested in this is the age difference. Like that's that, and I can make the subsequent argument and the power dynamics. But I'd say sports fans who know about Belichick's history and the Patriot way are doing what you're doing. But this story's crossed over, and it has nothing to do with anybody who cares anything about how Bill Belichick got to the winning, and it has everything to do with why is there a 50-year age difference here, and are we talking about something in the realm of Anna Nicole Smith? Like that's what's happening with the curiosity, and then it's covered poorly by just about everybody but Pablo.
Yeah, although I would say that to some extent, the least interesting part of it to me is the age difference, because it's like, yeah, rich guys in their 70s date women in their 20s if they can. Like this is the 10 millionth version of this. Like it's not new. That part of it isn't new. The part of it that's new to me is that his whole thing was don't do anything to give anyone an angle on you and the internal workings of your organization. And then he's done the opposite of that. He's made himself the story and has invited all of this scrutiny about something that isn't whether he's running a 3-4 or a nickel defense. So like that to me, the part of it of like a 74-year-old dude got into a relationship with a 21-year-old or whatever she is or was at the time, like, okay. Like, yeah, the dudes are gross. They do gross things. If they're given the opportunity, they're gross. Like that part of it is to me is boring. The part of it that's interesting is the sports angle to me.
Put it on the poll. Are dudes gross?
Yes.
At Le Batard Show. And also, give me the stat of the day music, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day.
Max Muncy started the year real slow for the Dodgers. Then on April 30th was diagnosed with astigmatism, and they gave him glasses. Max Muncy's stats headed into yesterday's games. Before getting glasses, 28 games, a 180 batting average, 0 home runs, 4 RBIs, 34 strikeouts. Post getting glasses, 29 games, 275 batting average, 8 home runs, 30 RBI, and only 18 strikeouts.
Vision. Important.
Yeah, hitting the baseball requires eyesight.
Remember see it, yeah.
Remember when Brian Roberts, like years and years ago, had like red contact lenses because it helped him see the grip of the ball better, and we all thought, oh my gosh, like everyone's going to be running around with red eyes in baseball, and then just no one did that.
They were banned. They were banned in the NFL. If you remember, Kyle Vanden Bosch and Mario Williams also had those contacts, and they were banned in the NFL. They did provide an unfair advantage.
Mike Timlin used to wear them.
You've talked to baseball pitchers, though. You can, as we don't really understand, the people listening to this, us. If any of us were in a batter's box and somebody threw a pitch 100 miles an hour that was a strike, we'd all be scared of it. And baseball players will tell you, it's a dot. It's not a baseball. You're trying to hit a dot because of how fast all of that is moving. The idea that somebody is trying to hit a ball at 100 miles an hour, what do you imagine that looks like?
I mean, I'd be flinching. There's no way you don't flinch. For me, the average person, I'm not saying that a major league player would do it. I think it looks like something you don't see. That's what it looks like.
I don't think you see it. I don't think the human eye registers a ball at that speed at the size of a baseball. Do you think I have this wrong?
No, I think you have it right. I mean, the funny thing about Muncy is that astigmatism specifically, I have astigmatism. A lot of people do. And basically what it means is if there's a dot in your field of vision, like a dot of light, you see it as two dots. So like it like splits apart. So he was swinging ostensibly at like one of two things that were going 100 miles an hour.
How about him hitting 180 with that?
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
It's actually more impressive than what he's done post-glasses.
But it seems like
100%.
a typical Max Muncy season. I mean, that's how it goes for Max Muncy, with or without glasses, no?
Yeah, I think he's a little better than 180 and no homers.
I
like hitting a
He's
ball.
228 for his career.
Yeah, it's better than 180.
It is better than 180. There's no disputing that. Let's spin the wheel here with Mike Schur and let's see what it lands on. We have Rafael Devers. We have the state of the television industry. We have Elon Musk. And we have Mike Schur talks even more slowly about his Jason Tatum pain. What did it land on there, Mike? Can you see?
Jason Tatum pain. Oh, wow. Where does this leave you guys? You guys were going to get rid of players either way because somebody paid $6 billion for the franchise. You were going to probably get rid of Porzingis, but now an entire year is wasted with what Bomani Jones called probably the last fringe superstar, the tipping point when it comes to superstars.
I was asking the other Mike. I was asking the other Mike where that wheel landed.
What is this season going to be like? Are you going to be bad? Are you going to be bad?
I'll give Mike what he wants. I'll give him what he wants.
Elon Musk.
I think there's a real chance that next year is a truly disastrous season. I think there's a chance that the Celtics end up something like 37-45 and just give their fans no hope at all for anything. Like barely make
I
the
know what
play-in.
you're doing.
Just barely make the play-in and have to sort of like have a bunch of guys on the team saying like, you know, don't let us win this play-in game because we have the heart of a champion and we could make some noise in the playoffs if we win this play-in game. Like that's obviously a worst-case scenario for a franchise, and I think that's possible for the Celtics next year.
That sounds like hell. Can't wait for you to go through it.
Let's spin the wheel again. We've got the NBA All-Star Game, USA versus the world. We've got Trump's support of Pete Rose being a factor and Rob Manfred allowing him into the Hall of Fame. We've got Rafael Devers. We've got the state of the TV industry, and we've got Elon Musk. And again on the wheel is also speak even more slowly about the Jason Tatum injury. Where did it land there, Mike?
Speak even more slowly about the
I wasn't talking to you. I wasn't talking.
You can see why he's confused.
I'm
though.
asking
The other Mike has an astigmatism.
I'm
He can't
asking
see.
the other Mike.
Yeah, I'm seeing two wheels.
I thought you were going to say I'm seeing two asses.
Yeah, look, again, nightmare. Absolute nightmare scenario to be trapped in that limbo where you can't attract any free agents. You're just, chasing these guys, Durant and Giannis, every year and not getting them. You're drafting like 16th and you have to hope that some random guy that you
Rafael Devers on the list here. Elon Musk.
And then talking fast about Jason Tatum.
Yeah, you're not respecting the wheel. You're not respecting what it is that we're doing here. You continue to make fun of the Miami Heat. That's not what
I
we're
can't
doing.
see the wheel. I'm relying on Mike Ryan to tell me where it landed.
Mike?
Astigmatism. Elon Musk.
I mean, what is there to say about that guy? It's like one of the worst living human beings.
Well,
like,
I mean, there was a pivot about 24 hours ago. Well, there we go. That's the opinion we're trying to draw out of you, Mike Schur. Come on.
This
is a fake out. It's BS. They're not actually at each other's throats. They're not turning on one another. Talk to me.
I'm sure that somewhere in that bill was something that he wanted and didn't get, or something that he didn't want and they put it anyway. It's not a pivot when you're when you are at least displaying the qualities of an addict. You don't pivot. You ricochet around. Like you have one thought one day and another thought the next day. Like he's not pivoting. He's a lunatic. And by the way, I'm sure you've talked about this recently. There's one person in America who got this guy right, and he's sitting in your studio right now. And I think once again, huge
upset.
Years before any of us saw this, Stu had him absolutely nailed. And I don't think it could be said enough how on the money Stu was in 2013 about this guy. Like an absolute, one of the great calls of all time by Stugotz.
Yep. Good hockey name, too.
was right? Yeah. Holy Stugotz was right.
This is the greatest example ever.
You would have enjoyed hearing Billy try to convince Stugotz that because StugottzBook.com now has a 47% off discount to buy all the inventory and then return to selling it at full price. So that
double your money.
Inventory purchased, yes.
Yeah. See you later, Mike. Sure. Good seeing you again.
Bye, guys.
Pitch Clock with Jeremy Taché is next. You should listen anyway.
Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch. A 2-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock.
The Pitch Clock is back, baseball.
Hi, LeBatard.
There's Chris. We're going to play a game in just a second with Taylor. We have our 2025 MLB expert, Joon Lee, joining us in moments. But Taylor, what's our game for today?
I'm going to give you guys a player from 2002. You have to say whose opening day lineup or roster they were on. 6 rounds, 12 total players. We'll do Jeremy first, then Chris.
First name.
Carlos Beltran.
Who's going?
Me. In 2002, Carlos Beltran was on the Royals opening day roster.
Oh, my God.
He was on the Royals.
Wow. I was going to go.
Good snipe there.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's where we got to start. All right, 1-0 lead. That's quick.
Chris Cody, Jeff Conine.
See, this is I know this because they traded for him in 2003 back from, I believe, that he was a Philly.
He was not a Philly in 2002
He wasn't
opening
03.
day
He
roster.
signed with the Phillies as a free agent going
Taylor.
into 2003
Taylor.
and then got traded that season.
And I know where he was.
Where was he?
Jeremy, you have a chance to steal.
Can I steal
was
back if he
he-
gets it wrong? Can I steal back if he gets it wrong?
No.
I don't think that's how it was. He a Baltimore Oriole that
That's what
year?
it was. Of course that's what it was.
Chris, you got Orioles again. He was an Oriole.
Got Orioles again! I mean, unfortunately, the double stuff Oriole last week did not lead to a victory, so I'm not going to get too cocky. But it is 2-0 after one round.
Jeremy, David Justice.
There's 2 teams that came to mind immediately with David Justice. And in 2002, I can't decide if he was still with the...
Talk it out. Where was he? Where
I
could he
am...
have been?
Well, I don't... I'm going to go ahead and guess that he was a...
Oh, he said an A. He said an A, so that's his final answer.
An Atlanta Brave.
Okay.
He was not an Atlanta
Damn
Brave.
it. All right, then I know what it was.
Just to avoid some terrible embarrassment here, I'm going to just say the Oakland A's.
Chris Cody, you almost gave him the right answer.
Wow!
He wasn't Oakland A's.
Really? What a giant mistake.
You looked at me like,
I did.
should I say the A's?
Now I'm panicked. Because now you have an opportunity to tie, and I got cocky immediately in the first round. And now it's time for Joon Lee to join us here on this episode of The Pitch Clock as our 2025 MLB expert. Joon, we're going to dive into some of what you're doing right now in your work in just a couple of minutes, but I want to start here on the Major League Baseball topic, and we're going to start with a team that is at the top of most people's power rankings right now, maybe the best team in the National League. It's the Philadelphia Phillies, who, at the time of this recording, since April 26th, are 21-6. But, Joon, when we look at the Philadelphia Phillies, at this point, with the way they're playing, with what their roster looks like, should we be considering them the cream of the crop in the National League and the real team to beat, potentially over the Dodgers?
I think that we're currently reaching a place where there's a bit of like a reality check with the Phillies. And I think part of that comes with Jesus Luzardo and kind of the uncertainty around his last start where he gave up 12 runs. And, Bryce Harper's been injured and it doesn't seem like he's going on the IL. But, I think that there's just a lot of these compounding things happening with the Phillies right now. I think that the Phillies, when the offense goes cold, it goes very cold. And the bullpen just isn't as good as it has been the last few years. And, they lost Jose Alvarado, and he's been a crucial part of their bullpen over the course of the last few seasons. And so, this team is really talented. Do I expect Kyle Schwarber to be as hot as he's been to start the season for the rest of the year? Probably not. But I think one of the interesting wild cards with this team is, the rehab of their top prospect, Andrew Painter, and how he potentially factors in for the second half of the season. If you're able to get like 80% of what you think Andrew Painter can be out of the gate, and also just Aaron Nola like not being terrible,
right?
Like that can really, I think, kind of change the prognosis for this team. But I think it's this is definitely a playoff team. Is it a team that I'm picking over the Dodgers? Probably not. Actually, definitely not.
You mentioned Andrew Painter as a guy that the Phillies have been waiting on, and this week is the call-up of a guy that we've all not necessarily been waiting on because this is a pretty early call-up, but Jack Caglione, the former Florida Gator, who is now called up to the Kansas City Royals, one of the great power-hitting prospects that we've seen in Major League Baseball in a long time. So, Joon, what does it mean that the Royals are calling him up now? What does it say about the player and your expectations of him? And given the fact that they might lose a year of arbitration with him, what does it say about what they think of what he will ultimately be?
I mean, I think it speaks just as much to kind of the place that the Royals are in as a franchise, where they're trying to figure out their identity for this next generation. Obviously, they have to face their franchise with Bobby Witt Jr.
That's right.
But I think I'm a little bit of a Caglione skeptic in terms of the hype behind him, because part of why he was so interesting coming out of Florida was the fact that he was a two-way prospect. And obviously that was coming out at the height of Shohei Ohtani, I think blowing everyone's minds, doing what he's done, for as long as he's done.
That's right.
You look at a guy like Pete Alonso, who is like a prodigious power hitter for this generation, a guy who hits, moonshots and has a higher exit velocity than most guys. What I really look to see when a guy comes up is a guy can get hot for the first month of a season, and that especially happens a lot with prospects. But when the league adjusts back to them and they start picking out the holes in their swing and the holes in their approach, are they able to adjust back? And at that point, I think it's easier for me to be like, oh, that guy's going to be very good. I just always am a little bit skeptical of a lot of hype going behind a guy who obviously has a lot of power, but could be a little bit more limited in terms of his value ceiling.
What's Chris's name here, Taylor?
Yeah.
Robin Ventura.
Well, there are not a ton of teams that jump out to me for Robin Ventura. Two of them are pretty. Why are you like looking all weird?
Because I don't want to give you anything as you talk through this.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the first team that popped in my head. I'm not gonna prolong this here. I'll go Mets.
He was not a Met in 2002 opening day
I should
roster.
have known that. See, he does this thing.
Yeah,
It's like the team you associate him
right.
with, it's not going to be that guy.
Yeah, it's never going to be that.
What
And
can
the
I
Mets
throw?
was
I wanna
where
throw this at
the
Taylor.
Mets were. Did it hit?
Yeah, I missed the camera.
The nice reaction time. I'm going to go ahead and make my. Was he a Royal?
He was not a Royal.
White
Chris,
Sox.
Chris, right city, wrong team. He was a Yankee.
Oh, wow. In 2002, Robin Ventura was a Yankee.
Yeah.
Huh.
Can you grab that pen I threw?
Not yet. All right, let's pick this back up. Round 3.
That kind of.
Craig Counsell.
Huh. There's one. It's one of two teams.
Good. So you say one of them, and if it's wrong, I'll guess the other.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and just say that at the start of that year, he was an Arizona Diamondback.
Thank you.
He was a Diamondback.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
I knew the other
I
team.
was nervous.
The
Yeah, the
Brewer-
other team would have been the Brewers.
Yeah,
Right.
good.
3-1 game here, and Chris Cody's up.
Chris Carpenter, a fellow Chris.
I mean, I can't think of other the teams this guy played for.
It's one team. I genuinely,
But it's not. He
I
wouldn't
know
do
it's
that.
not. I know it's not, and I know that there's a team that he was on.
Taylor, don't make that face because that implies that you would do it. So now I'm gonna say the team that I'm thinking, and then it's gonna be wrong, and that's a jerk move. You're not supposed to make any faces, Taylor. Cardinals.
He was not a Cardinal.
No way
What a
that he was a
piece of
Cardinal.
Taylor
I cannot remember the team that he was on. Oh, was he a Toronto Blue Jay?
He was a Blue Jay.
So it's 4-1. I'm down.
4-1, headed into round 4. My next
How
name
many
here.
Can I still win?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
plenty of
Okay,
opportunity.
okay.
I want to talk to you, Joon, now about the work that you've been doing because for those who don't know, Joon has been doing work on his YouTube channel. The handle is I am Joon Lee. And if you just look up Joon Lee on YouTube, you will find all of his work. But one of the recent projects that you had was with Adam Ottavino. So, Joon, I want to dive into this with you. You squared off against a big leaguer. Tell me about this experience and what were your biggest takeaways from the time that you spent with Adam in the work that you're doing here on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been curious about what it's like to step into the batter's box against a major league pitcher. And I thought that Adam in particular was an interesting person because of his kind of role in the sabermetric evolution of the sport and his sweeper kind of being one of those pitches that I think a lot of young players today coming up have said that kind of helped them rethink their approach on the mound and kind of their arsenal. So that part was really interesting. But the second reason I thought it was really interesting is like we live in a time where the average major league reliever, almost starting pitcher too, is pumping at least 95 to 100. And Adam is 40 years old and at the time was still kind of had these major league opportunities. Adam was kind of on the lower end of the velocity spectrum. And so I wanted to kind of contextualize that experience as a whole as well, because I think we live in a time where, and I'm not saying that I'm immune to this, but like there's so many hot takes.
Yes.
And people love to criticize athletes and their performance on the field or on the court. And I think that it is important to take a step back sometimes to remember that, someone like Adam Ottavino, who is the type of person in baseball specifically who gets demolished on social media by giving up a home run in a crucial spot in the 8th inning, like the type of guy that both Yankees Twitter and Mets Twitter have like a vengeance against,
Right.
is still significantly better than the average human being at the thing that they do. And so, I think that there's, I wanted to like kind of do a fun YouTube stunt, but I also, also wanted to kind of contextualize it in the sports media time that we live in right now.
There's some wonderful humanity in that piece as well. So I really recommend people go to Joon's YouTube channel and follow him on Instagram. But let's end here, Joon. 2 guys that I want to focus on here this week, and I'm going to have you choose either Ronald Acuna Jr., who's come back from his injury and gotten off to a ridiculously hot start, potentially influencing what the Braves can do this year, or the superstar that nobody ever seems to talk about, a guy who is always in the top 5 to 10 of every offensive category in baseball, Jose Ramirez, who's doing it yet again this season for Cleveland. Which of these 2 guys do you want to focus on, Joon?
I have a soft spot in my heart for Jose Ramirez just because he has been so good for so long. And the fact that he hits for as much power that he does, the fact that his game is as well-rounded as it is, the fact that, like, I think in part because of the language barrier, most baseball fans don't really know a lot about him. Like, he's lived a great life to be able to, like, do what you love, get paid in the way that he has, and go completely unrecognized probably in most of the world, I would imagine, except for, his hometown and his home country. Like, it's a pretty good life to be living.
One of the great baseball players, not just of this decade, of this century. Go look at his statistics. He's been unbelievable. Joon, this has been an unbelievable conversation. Joon, we're going to get back to trivia, but thank you for joining us, and we'll have you back here next week.
Jeremy, Gary Sheffield.
Now, I know it's not Milwaukee.
You said Milwaukee.
And then I said, I know it's not Milwaukee.
Be careful.
Until it ends up being Milwaukee, which would be very funny. But I know it's not Milwaukee. I know it's not Florida. All right, I'm going to guess Yankees.
He was not a Yankee.
Yeah, he wasn't there yet. I can't believe I can't remember where he was at this time in his career.
Atlanta Brave.
He was a Brave.
He was a Brave. Of course he was a Brave.
Sneaky
Of
amount
course
of
he
teams
was.
for Sheffield.
Oh, he
Sneaky.
played for like 9 different teams,
What are the
right?
2 teams I had written down here?
You had Braves and Yankees.
Yeah, those
That's
are
funny.
the-
If you don't get this one, maybe I need to stick
This
with
is
that.
big. This is
All right.
big.
This is a huge,
Taylor,
huge
look at your
name.
names. Pick the easiest one left. Let's go. Play the game.
I'm staying
Give the
true to
people-
form
give the
in this
people-
list.
Give the people what they want. A close game.
Eddie Guardado.
You're an asshole.
No, I know this one. I see this. I see it coming. He's like, oh, you're gonna say Twins because that's where he was popular. But no, he signed with the Mariners at this point. Mariners.
He was not a Mariner.
Twins.
He was a Twin.
That's Taylor, you can't. That is such bull. Taylor.
Dude, I swear to you,
now you
I
decided
didn't
the
have
seventh
Chris.
name down.
I
Seventh
didn't
name
have
down.
a shot in hell of getting the Twins, but then you said both of them.
Isn't
I
it
couldn't
obvious?
remember. I couldn't remember a
Oh my
team,
God.
a team that he played for, and now it's a 5-2
Taylor,
lead.
that is such a dick move.
Taylor,
dude.
thank you.
Jeremy Armando Benitez.
Armando Benitez was on the Mets.
Armando Benitez was on the Mets.
Ooh, did I just clinch a victory?
6-2.
Somebody has a
3 names
4-point
left.
lead with three
Yeah.
with 3
Add a
names
four.
left.
Add a 4th name. Let's go. Let's make this interesting. All right, here we go.
Chuck Finley.
Chuck Finley.
I've only got one name in mind.
Yeah, so do
Maybe
I.
maybe there's maybe there's a second one, but I've got one name in mind.
Chuck Finley. Angels.
He was not
you're
an
a
Angel.
piece of
I
dude.
would have guessed the same thing. Phillies?
Cleveland.
Cleveland. Okay. And what are our last couple names just for the fun of it?
Placido Polanco, Jeremy.
Tigers.
Phillies.
What was it?
Cardinals.
Oh. I don't remember that. And the last name?
Fun.
Kenny Lofton.
I think I know this one.
I think it's
I'll go Braves.
Chicago.
Which one?
Cubs.
White Sox.
Damn!
Wow.
That's not who I have.
All right. Well,
Good to know, Ethan.
either way, victory for me. Woohoo!
Folks out there in the audience, temperature's starting to turn up a little bit. That means a lot of you and your families and your friends are going outside, having a perfect grill day, maybe out by the pool. Now, imagine yourself, grill side. Your veggies, your meats, they're all prepped, ready to go. Kids running around in the background. Lawn, perfectly manicured to perfection. It all sounds pretty great. This sounds like a good time. Now you make that good time a Miller time because it is all made better with a white can in your hand of that beautiful Miller Lite. Celebrating its 50th anniversary, Miller Lite. Almost 20 years have they been partnered with our show, making your good times Miller times every time out. There's just something about a perfect grilling day. Sun's out, friends show up, that first sip of Miller Lite, it just hits different. I've been stocking the cooler with Miller Lite for years on these grilling days, and for good reason. It's brewed for taste, and it's only 96 calories and 3.2 grams of carbs. This year, Miller Lite turns 50. That's 5 decades of cookouts, laughs, and ice-cold moments that never miss. It's the original light beer, and it's still my go-to. Great beer, great times. Grill on. Miller Lite. Great taste. 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller Lite. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, it's time for Thursday Thunder, and it's presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Juju, take it away.
Welcome back. Last week, another 2 for 3. If 2 for 3s, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get started. But this week, we're back. I'm going tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder money line.
Oh, come
Those
on.
brothers are gonna get the W tonight. I know it.
Come on, Juju. It is cowardice.
What are the odds on that?
It is straight cowardice. They're 9.5 point favorites, one of the biggest favorites in the
He's
history
going
of
money
the sport.
line.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Have you seen Halliburton? No, he got it going right now. You never know. Leg 2, I'm going Chet Holmgren under 9.5 rebounds. He's a tall brother, but I don't think he's gonna get 10 rebounds tonight at all. Take the under. And for the last leg, I'm going to the W. I'm going to the Valkyrie. I'm going to the Golden State Valkyrie, the newest team in the league. Veronica Burton, the PG. Tiffany Hayes is hurt right now, so they're going to need a big night from her. I'm going her over 10.5 points tonight, and she will get it done against the Mercury. You dig us?
You'd be winning giant money if you were betting all of Juju's picks, just not as parlays, because he takes a lot of time with these, and he often hits 2 out of 3. A couple of things we didn't talk about today, Stugotz. There was, in the Boston Red Sox game yesterday, a game-winning home run that went 308 feet.
What?
That is a pop-up. That is closer to a pop-up than it is to a home run. But it went out of the park. It went inside of the pesky pole, 308 feet.
I'm not sure if that's closer to a pop-up, but I get your point.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it is.
I mean, a home run's a home run. A walk-off's a walk-off.
A pop fly.
It's like a pop-up stays in the infield.
308 feet is a, weak fly ball to the right fielder in every other ballpark in America.
It's not very much. It's not an infield pop-up, but
it was enough in that ballpark.
To get out.
Put it on the poll. Can you have a pop-up in the outfield? I'm pretty sure if it's in the outfield, it's a fly out.
Yes.
You don't think that a pop-up can be a right fielder catching it right behind the second baseman?
I'm going to text Tim Kirk.
You're saying it's a pop-up if the infielder catches it. It's not a pop-up if the outfielder catches it?
If the outfielder has to run in.
Guys, it's a fly ball to the center fielder. It's a pop-up to the second baseman.
I'm with Dan, though. If a second baseman goes out into shallow right, I could see that.
I think if you have to have communication between the infielder and the outfielder, that's a
Roy
is
giving us the Matumbo finger.
No, we're calling that a pop fly.
Right.
That
is the hybrid.
Game changer.
He really did ruin the entire game. Just took it out, ended the game. The other thing I wanted to point out to you guys, because we didn't talk about this at all. In fact, I think Chet Holmgren was the first mention of anything basketball related in the show today that wasn't me just name-dropping Stan Van Gundy. The Pacers are the biggest long shot in the last 20 years. The last long shot like this was the Pistons team that did knock off the Lakers in 5 games, but a ton of money is coming in on the Pacers. Tons of money. It's at least because they're big value, because they're such a big dog.
Well, it's a value play, yes.
They're 5-1 underdogs, but the grand majority of the money is coming in on the Pacers because of how rare it is to have this kind of value from one of the team in the finals.
So I think it's combined a value play for gamblers and also not a lot of people believing in the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think there's some of that going on as well.
I believe a ton of people do believe in OKC, and a lot of money is coming in on OKC the way that Juju just did it, which is they're going to win on the money line, et cetera, because they're such an overwhelming favorite. But it's just people looking for value. Juju's doing a show after the games that's live on YouTube. It's his Alley-Oop show. What do you want to give us in the way of preview? Not for that show necessarily, Juju, but just on the series. What are you looking forward to seeing?
Man, I'm looking forward to the Pacers. Can they do it? It's been a lot of hype around the Thunder. And they said yesterday on the show that bulletin boards are dead, the bulletin board material. If they were to make a resurrection, I think the Pacers would have a lot of bulletin board material. So I want to see what they do with that. And, of course, we are going live tonight with my sister Trista Crick and my brother Josh Smith, Stephen A. nephew. We're going to be live right after the game. I got a sidebar as well. I see my brother Chris Cody talking. He gets compared to a lot of people. We got a lot of Chris Cody looks like. And there's a rising star in Atlanta right now who Chris Cody actually looks like. When I see him, I see Chris Cody. His name is Belly Gang Cushington. In your free time, Google Belly Gang Cushington. And that's the most looks like Chris Cody I have ever seen. Huge rap star.
That's strong.
Look out for him.
That's strong.
That's a good name, too. I like that as a
same body size, too. Yeah.
Yeah, same coolness too, same beard, same lingo.
There we go.
Does he have the same timing on the thunder that you have? Because you and Mike were struggling with whenever it is that you were hitting the thunder there. You were trying to sell it, but doing it poorly.
I think that's more of a way.
Take me.
Yeah. Established bit. Yeah. Do it again. Bam.
Juju, are you updating some polls for us today?
Yes, sir. And before the polls, I want to say happy Pride Month to all the community out there, as well as a rest in peace to Jonathan Joss, slain this week. Big member of the community. He played, what's his name? John Redcorn on King of the Hill, as well as Ken Hotate on Parks and Recreations. Very untimely, very tragedy. So sorry to throw that in your face, but
you really
give
did.
My brother some respect.
It was both It was both very untimely and very tragic. It was both of those things.
And appreciated.
And I don't think you're sorry. So.
Yes. Yeah, and also appreciated. Yes.
Given his name, should Dalton Kincaid be better at football? 83% of the audience says yes, he should.
Yeah, we can agree on that, right? Dalton Kincaid, that person needs to be a Hall of Famer at football, just based on name. In fact, Stugotz has said this before. He has said this of, is it Jackson Dart?
Jackson Dart, yes, on a rogue field. If I'm a scout, I would call any NFL team and say, I have your quarterback. I'm watching him right now, even if he wasn't good.
I would be saying that of Dalton Kincaid as well, right? Even if he's playing tight end, I'm like, I've got your quarterback.
Don't need to see him.
Yes, his name is Dalton Kincaid. I don't need any more information. He's just our next quarterback.
Most meaningful Mariner, Ichiro Suzuki, Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., or Jay Buhner. We only have 4 options for polls, so my brother got left
so
out.
Edgar Martinez got left out. That's unfortunate.
Good job by you. You got to go Jay Buhner there. Good call by you.
Right. 72% of the audience says Ken Griffey Jr. Do you miss pitchers pinch running in jackets? I, for one, do. 87% of the audience says yes, they do.
We didn't even mention that they would also wear batting gloves. Like before the oven mitt thing that they do now for stealing bases, they'd be out there wearing a helmet, a jacket, and batting gloves. It was the best.
Do you hate the Apple controller? 82% of the audience says yes, they do. Dang. Salute to our sponsors. Have you ever met a white Anton? 95% of the audience says no, they have not. Have you ever met anyone named Rance? 92% of the audience says they have not.
8%?
Yes, that's right. 8% of our audience is just hanging out every weekend with their best friend Rance.
If your name is Rance, do you have to wear prescription glasses? 90% of the audience says yes. And the last poll, are dudes gross? This has never happened before. Maybe it's very early. 100% of the audience.
Wow. We did it. We did it. We did it. Lightning me. Thunder me.
Hit me, Roy.
Hit me with a thundercloud.